in reality, it isn't necessary for everyone to know how to fight, because I don't think we're in constant danger.
No.
I think these people are always looking over their shoulders.
It's not like C-3PO can fight, so at least we have that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Even R2 can fight a little bit.
R2 can fight a lot. R2's a gangster.
R2 is the HK-47 of the original universe.
Hello there, you found the Lost Holocron, an ancient artifact of lore and legends from a galaxy far, far away. Each transmission of the Lost Holocron, you will join an episodic discussion of media from the Star Wars universe. We will be your guides. Tim.
Hey.
Kyle.
Let's go.
I'm Scott. And we have Stuart.
Today.
And this session we will be covering the material up to and including Chapter 7 of Heir to the Empire. So, Kyle, what happened so far?
Oh, so far, what we got is here, the New Republic and what is left of the Imperial Forces are at a turning point in their struggle for galactic control. While both sides are struggling economically, the New Republic is having trouble establishing itself politically, and the Imperial Remnants are hunting for opportunities to turn the tide. Captain Pallaeon accompanies Grand Admiral Thrawn, the last surviving warlord appointed by Emperor Palpatine, to a storehouse of technology they hoped will aid their war efforts. Along with new cloaking shield technology, they ally themselves with Dark Jedi clone. Damn it, how do you say his fucking name again?
Joruus C'Baoth.
Joruus C'Baoth. Along with new cloaking shield technology, they ally themselves with a Dark Jedi clone, Joruus C'Baoth, promising him Leia Organa Solo's unborn twins. During the course of their diplomatic mission, and while separated from Luke Skywalker, Leia and Han Solo fall prey to an ambush in the bustling markets of Bimmisaari.
Dang.
Stuart, what happened in this chapter? Let me know, I forget.
The last chapter left us in the middle of the action, and we pick up where Luke frees himself from his own ambush in the Bim Tower and races to rescue Leia and Han in the marketplace. Safely aboard the Millennium Falcon, Han makes the jump to lightspeed. It seems that the Bims were paid off to lead the protagonists into the trap, but they have no further information about their assailants. Leia wants to resume the negotiations, but Han first wants to rendezvous with the tactical support before returning. After pressure from both Luke and Han, Leia agrees that she needs to start her lightsaber training sooner than later.
Yes, please. Lightsabers all the time, please.
Yep.
Yeah, I do like that line that even at this point in the canon of the time was being established, that all Jedi carried lightsaber, whether they were librarians or
Yeah.
medical teams or, just support people.
Yeah.
I do think your monastic warriors, no matter what their style, they need to all learn some sort of basics.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely something that is strongly associated with them. And part of it is probably also for image as well. Because, a healer probably isn't going to do much fighting. But, at the same time, if someone breaks into the medical bay, it might be good to defend yourself. But
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like there's always been that interesting tension with the Jedi where it's like peace, but then violence.
Right. Which seems like a struggle for Luke in this chapter, particularly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was a
At
little
times,
surprised.
yeah.
I still think he's still in a place where he doesn't want to kill anyone if he doesn't have to.
Yeah. Which is super fair.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier that I think that Luke is a character that's really driven by his own feelings, what he feels is right. And I think that's something that he will always struggle with, is having to cut people down when he doesn't have a choice.
Definitely, I agree. Yeah.
Although that hesitation seems to fade by the time he gets to Han and Leia.
Yeah, because his friends are in danger.
Yeah. Right.
And that's a pretty consistent trait for him as well.
Yeah, I think that just plays back into he's making emotional decisions. When it's by himself, that's a tough thing to overcome. But then when his friends are there, the emotionally right thing to do is defend them.
Yeah.
I mean, there always has to be a point where it's like, okay, there's not going to be negotiations with these things anymore. They just have to take them out.
Yeah. I did really like the way he fought too. I'm a really, really big fan of creative use of force powers, so I loved him I forget if he either like observed it or like reached out with the Force to feel it, but just noticing that there was a thumb trigger and using the Force to set it off.
Yeah, it said that one of them made a tactical error, and he noticed that, he's like, oh, a thumb switch, and so that's how he knew.
Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to try that on an opponent's lightsaber, but that would also be kind of boring dramatically.
Big climactic fight and be like, oh, I'm gonna shit.
Do you think that lightsabers have any kind of like defensive measures to work against that kind of trick happening against like force wielding combatants?
I've heard that there are. I heard something that I didn't really buy into, but there's supposed to be like, and I don't know if it's canon or if it's old legends or what, but it's supposed to be like a Force user when they're in a battle with another Force user, they have some kind of ability to project like an aura around themselves that kind of prevents the other Force user from like interacting. Like, but I don't know. To me, that didn't really make sense because it's like if they can protect it from your opponent from deactivating your lightsaber, can you protect your opponent from like stabbing you? So it's like I didn't really buy into that.
Well, also that counters against when any Sith uses Force lightning just in the middle of battle.
I always come to my typical argument in those instances where it's like, what do you want to see? Do you want to see someone immediately outsmart someone, or do you want to see a lightsaber battle?
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, that'll be different depending on the situation. But I think it's also important to assess what feels better for the story beyond what you yourself desire to see, Yeah.
But that was one thing that was really cool about the battle between Obi-Wan and Maul in Rebels, that it was just like, it was so so well calculated and fast, and it was just like, bam, 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 done.
Yeah.
That was so good.
I would like to see a lot more like that.
It was so amazing to see how well calculated it was that it didn't need to be a long dramatic fight.
Yeah.
Just the strategy behind it made it extremely exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I really like about reading lightsaber combat in novels as well, because you get a bit more insight into the strategy moment to moment, like seeing what Luke was observing and what he was thinking, how he tried to cut the tapestry down and subdue them with that somehow. It must have been a very heavy tapestry.
Right.
Yeah, I like that part too. And I thought it was interesting that, immediately, instead of them attacking Luke, they go to attack basically try to plaster the tapestry back on the wall so he can't do it again.
Right, yeah. Really good measures and countermeasures happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right after that, he uses one of the sprayers to maybe I couldn't understand what the hell he was doing. Did he make like a zip line to the market and ride down? Okay, that's right. That's right.
I thought it was more like a Tarzan rope swing.
I thought it was like a vine or it said something like makeshift rope.
Probably was.
Okay, because I thought it turned into like a solid, so I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, so what it seems like, these sticks spray some sort of mist that turns into a liquid that turns into a solid, much like
like a spider web or something.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
These sticks are very confusing. They seem incredibly
with their 200-meter range or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But so you can adjust it, so you can make it to like the fine mist, or you can make it into like a single spray,
Maybe that was actually the reason for the range, so you could do a cable.
Right.
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, maybe.
Perhaps the net setting has a shorter range.
That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that would.
Make it like a grappling hook type. Or like exactly like Spider-Man web,
Yeah.
Luke at one point ponders what would happen if he's trying to cut an ever-expanding rope with his lightsaber. Do you think that it would destroy the spray as it's being sprayed at him, or do you think it would be more like it turns into molten ash and sprays through the blade?
I think it would be more like somebody spraying you with a hose and you're just waving a stick at it. I don't think it would really do anything.
It doesn't sound very effective.
No, yeah.
Now, I figured it would just be like it's just not something that you can just slice away and it not be an issue anymore. It's just forever expanding, like that insulation that you can get where like it just kind of.
Oh yeah.
I think we have some confirmation with that as well, with how Luke was struggling to get 3PO out of it.
Yep.
Speaking of, there's a little conversation where they're like, why didn't see 3PO duck? Can he duck? He always seemed very stiff. I didn't think he can bend over.
He's like,
he bends at the hips.
Okay.
That's the way he does.
Yeah, he would become a right angle.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't have the dexterity to do what they want him to do.
No, he doesn't. Yeah. And they never quite think of that, do they?
No.
They don't have to think about it with R2 because R2 takes care of himself, but 3PO would like...
R2 would figure out a way to duck even shorter than he is.
Yeah.
Also, the amount of time that word BIM is used in this chapter, it has lost all meaning to me. Just like I was listening to the audiobook and every 3 seconds I heard the word BIM.
Mm-hmm.
Sea of BIMs. The BIM shopkeeper, the thrifted BIM, or the pilfered BIM merchandise.
I did really like the moment where Han took the merchandise.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty clever diversion.
Yeah, it felt very Han to me.
Yeah.
Particularly as Leia's like, oh, should I try out my baby superpowers? And he's like, no, you're not going to get 11 other assailants' weapons.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no.
Try something
here, throw some jewelry.
Jewelry, yeah. And most of it goes on the ground anyway.
Take this box instead. Yeah.
Which I appreciated. Like, it's good to have that, the person that's just coming into their powers going, oh, like, I'm really ambitious about this. Go, hold on. You're trying to run before you can walk. And there's still this kind of like, nobody's perfect on their first try of something. Right. And so the jewelry being scattered everywhere, it felt very, very real to me, just how messy this was. And the image, all the BIM tackling Han to the
my God, just running at him with their sing-songy language, shouting.
Just this ear-splitting scream, get that man!
It just sounds like Iron Maiden. I did really like how much clumsiness there was, because I think it also shows that surviving combat is not just about skill, but it's also about reacting quickly, especially as circumstances change in the chaos.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you have to be very resourceful.
Yeah, I always enjoy when the environment is used in battle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, I really enjoy that Chewbacca just kind of comes in and starts firing shots from above in the marketplace.
Guns blazing. In a society that's very, like, anti-weapon, or at least that's what they were told, and he's just like guns ablazing, death from above, whatever,
I'm so curious to see how that's going to shake out diplomatically.
Right.
I cannot believe that right after this, they're like, oh, well, we got to get back down there and do diplomat stuff. It's just like, they won't just assassinated it, and they're like, well, where are you guys going? Come back.
Yeah.
It was all like chalked up to some bad, what was the phrase? It was a bad call. That's what they're calling it, apparently. A bad decision.
Oh
yeah. They're a little bit embarrassed, but no, it's just a bad decision. Come back, guys. Come on, we want to talk.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's what Leia had said, and then she was like, I told him we'd be right down, and he's like, well, I told him we'd be gone a little while, and a little while might mean like forever, for all we know.
Yeah. Right.
I think Han make a good decision going over everybody's head on that one.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Also, I was surprised that like he said that they already did the jump. I'm surprised that's not something they feel.
Yeah, usually I would expect something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the movies he's always like, okay, everybody buckle up, and then they're just like in the back, whatever. And
right.
he's like, oh yeah, we just like 10 minutes ago.
right?
I think
that was pretty bizarre.
Yeah, I think possibly maybe there's like extra shielding in that area of the ship, so maybe they would have felt something, or they could have just been distracted by the conversation or whatever at the time. Like I could see that, but then other books also mention the sound of hyperspace being different as the ship travels through hyperspace. There's this kind of like
I think it was an authorial oversight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just it. Because, I mean, it's not like I wanted them to be thrown backwards, because they are a cargo ship. It's not like when they go into hyperspace, everything goes flying. But I just expected...
Well, they did in Empire Strikes Back.
Oh.
When the hyperdrive gets fixed.
Yeah.
Huh.
Finally, at the end, yeah. R2 falls into the circuitry, the machinery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So you do feel the jump to light speed.
Right.
But the Falcon is a load of junk, so...
yeah. So they would especially feel it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there'd be like no padding around them, so they'd feel it especially hard.
Yeah. Maybe at this point they've made the Falcon a little cleaner, a little less junky.
Yeah. Leia did some housekeeping. I actually also wondered how the swivel gun was being operated with Chewie flying it. Maybe he stopped the Falcon midair and hovered and got on it, but I don't know if we've seen any depictions of those guns being used without someone on them.
Was it the turbo laser, or was it like the small? I thought maybe it was like the smaller one that they deployed. Remember in A New Hope when they're boarding?
I forgot about that one. Never mind. That probably could be it.
I thought maybe it was that little one.
Yeah, because my first thought was the ones on top and bottom.
Yeah.
I always assumed that there was like a general shot, and you would take manual control when you needed to be more precise.
Oh, maybe.
A marketplace seems like a good area for precision.
Yeah, or not if you're Chewie, because I don't get the impression Chewie really knows who was after them. He's just like shooting at whoever is nearby.
I also get the impression that Chewie would know exactly what he was doing.
Yeah,
and probably be very precise from the cockpit.
Chewie's actually a really good pilot and engineer, so I'm not surprised that he would be very good with this stuff. Just Han being, throwing his weight around being the captain or whatnot.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, Chewie's like the brains of the operation.
But it does say that they made a very clean, very quick, very clean work of the remaining aggressors.
That was really cool having Luke and Chewie working together like that.
Yeah.
I can just see Luke going around the field, slicing them up as there's like shots hitting the ground in the background.
Yeah.
Cool. Super, super cool.
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen the CGI? How they did that one yet?
No, I haven't watched yet. I haven't watched that part of the fan film. Yeah, I will probably be doing that later.
I gotta watch that. I keep forgetting about it.
I do like how C-3PO covered in the webbing is described as some sort of bizarre gift wrapping. It just seems like such an unusual choice of words there.
I could see him looking like a Christmas tree ornament.
That does mean gift wrap does exist in this universe as well.
I'm not surprised.
I do often wonder what certain things look like. Like, I don't think movies exist in the Star Wars universe.
No, they have dramas.
What they do?
Yeah, it's just not the movies we know.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
They have sports.
3D.
Right.
3D holodeck projected movies.
Yeah. Everything is projected 3 dimensions for them.
Mm-hmm.
Holograms everywhere.
Yeah.
I think
holograms.
That even in some of like the old Republic novels, they make mention to like an ancient technology of a flat projection movie drama.
Oh, okay.
I love that.
But like that's just so weird to me. Like we still have books, even though we've got radio dramas or movies,
right.
And even if we do invent like VR movies, I don't think that people will be like, okay, well I'm done with books now, or I'm done with a painting.
Right? Well, I do remember in Phantom Menace they watched part of the pod race on. They were watching the pod race on like a handheld screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So there
yeah.
are screens.
Yeah. They had televised sports on the, in Attack of the Clones were in the bar.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, they do.
They had televised sports, and it looked like it was on just like a regular flat screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. It was. So then, do they have movies?
Although I think what Kyle was specifically referencing was dramatizations, like fictional works on these types of things. Like I've definitely heard of holodramas, so that they're holographic, but I don't know if they're flat as well.
I mean, I could see them moving beyond it once you go from a 2-dimensional screen to a 3-dimensional holoprojection. Because, I mean, in the history of cinema, there's usually a technology that comes in and takes over. Sound is the most notable example.
Right.
And that adds another layer to the media you're experiencing. So in this case, the extra layer being added is space.
Right.
And so I could see that being seen as more desirable than the more 2-dimensional ones. And the more 2-dimensional ones are probably used for broadcasting for efficiency or cheapness. But at the same time, there's probably holoprojections too.
Yeah.
It probably just depends.
The thing I think, though, is that in film, shots are chosen very carefully, as you know very well, Tim.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't see directors dispensing with the choice of how to present something with just, here is the 3D space.
That's the indie film circuit of the Star Wars universe.
I want to know who the Frank Castle of Star Wars is.
Oh, the William Castle?
Is it William Castle? I thought it was Frank Castle.
Frank
Castle's the Punisher. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's William Castle.
You said Frank Castle, and I was thinking John Wick.
Right now I got to look this up. Frank Castle.
I want to see who the John Wick of Star Wars is.
Whoever this Castle is, he was he was a guy that was very famous in, I believe, the 50s or 60s for just making these insane gimmick movies in theaters. Like, he would have a glowing skeleton drop from the ceiling in theater or things like that. Yeah.
Well,
he's a very, very funny guy.
While they were watching the movie,
Yeah.
the cinema where the people actually work, he would
he would set up all these kinds of gimmicks.
Uh-huh.
He also there was a movie called The Tingler, and they basically put
Yes,
like
that's his
little
most famous one.
vibrators on the back of your seat.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So he was the first person to invent 4D cinema.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
Basically. Yeah, he's great.
He also made a movie where at the end you decide whether or not the villain gets punished or not. But a lot of people believe that he actually didn't make 2 endings. He just faked making 2 endings.
What? So you're expected to vote which ending you saw, and
Right. It'd be like, do you think he should be punished?
oh man, that would be a really interesting social experiment.
It would, yeah.
So, like, the only ending would just be the one that the most people voted for. From your point of view.
Right.
Yeah, no. Watching his movies at home is definitely not the same experience, but it's really fun to read about his stuff and what he's done.
He's the one who made the original 13 Ghost, and you had to wear special glasses to see the ghost in it, and that's where in the new one you got special glasses.
Yeah,
to
that's
see the
where in the
ghost.
remake. Yeah,
Cool.
So cool. Well, there probably is a guy like that in the Star Wars universe. There's probably all kinds of gimmicks.
Yeah, I love gimmicks.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how popular it is? It probably ranges by world, but I mean, it has to exist. I guess it just seems like holoprojection is the dominant form of entertainment consumption.
Mm-hmm. So there's a point where they're pushing for Leia to make a lightsaber, but she's the one that's a holdout on that. Do you think that because she's not afraid of combat, right? She's pretty well in the trenches in the movies, right?
Exactly. That was kind of a hang up for me between this Leia in this book and Leia especially in like A New Hope, where with no hope. She's all guns blazing and everything. And then in this story, in Heir to the Empire, she seems very almost subdued and kind of cautious. Much different.
I mean, granted, she's pregnant, but
yeah, I feel like she was willing to give her life for the cause, but I think now she's realizes like she has to stay alive for the future of Jedi.
Do you think that's it though? Like, giving her a lightsaber puts her in more danger, or like I feel like there's some other shift that's happened here, not just.
When faced with the Noghri in the marketplace, she was like, "Oh, do you want me to try and take their weapons away?" So it doesn't seem like she's afraid of confrontation in that sense.
Yeah. I feel like there definitely should have been some pushback towards Han there, because I feel like, actually, I'm not even sure there would be much pushback by those characters, because Han's going to think, we need a weapon. We need another weapon. Everyone needs to be strapped to the teeth. We're in danger, because that's Han.
Yeah.
And then Luke is not going to push back against that, because he wants to continue that training anyway. It's his mission. He's like, yeah, let's go. And then Leia, I think it was established in Chapter 2, she feels like she has to do more with her Jedi training, and so she's going to be blinded by that importance as well. And so I definitely don't think, like, if we're going to look at it rationally as outside of these characters' perspectives, that giving her a lightsaber is the best idea in this situation, and it can definitely wait. But from their perspectives, they're not going to be thinking that way.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think maybe it's like an optics thing? Because as with the New Republic trying to shift from military to legitimate government, do you think she is less concerned with combat now and thinks that like learning a lightsaber is less important than performing or learning about other things or being the diplomat from now on to have?
There probably is some of that, yeah.
I do kind of get that impression, yeah.
I mean, she was kind of like, yeah, let's go back down to the planet where we were almost killed and keep doing diplomacy. So,
yeah,
her priorities have changed.
Yeah.
In the Legends, is it still like you make your own lightsaber?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I imagine it takes quite some time to get that done too. Time that she just doesn't have.
Yeah.
That's what I think is a little bit weird about Luke. Like, I'm just going to make a lightsaber. I'll make one for you. I'll make one for Chewie. I'll make one for Han. Anybody that wants one. I've got the parts. I've got the know-how.
Everybody gets a lightsaber.
I mean,
you get a lightsaber.
Why not? In this canon, you don't have to bond with a crystal, so just grab some crystals or make some and arm everyone. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at this point, it was still, I see you constructed a lightsaber. Your Jedi training is complete. Whatever. It's like if he makes her a lightsaber, then he's robbing her of that part of becoming a Jedi. No.
Yeah, but we don't need traditions anymore.
I guess not. Yeah.
But no, you're right. It has been portrayed as like a major step in training.
I feel like Leia would want to make her own lightsaber.
I feel like any Force user would.
Right.
I'm sure there's some that don't give a shit.
Luke makes a point that everybody should learn the basics, and maybe the construction of a lightsaber is one of the basics that the Jedi need.
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's certainly the way we see it outside the universe, but he seems that he says, I can make her one anytime she's ready. And so that construction of the lightsaber doesn't seem to be given any importance to Luke at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like if the line was written like, I can help her build a lightsaber anytime she's ready, might be what we're more familiar with, I guess.
I mean, granted, Luke was just handed one before he even started training.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the thing is that it's going to take you a long time to make your own, but you should still know how to use a lightsaber before you make your own real laser weapon.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do like this line that your talents may lie along a different direction, but you should still learn all the basics. And I feel like too often in media, everybody is an everyman. Everybody can fight. Everybody can fight, and everyone can do their special thing. And yes, there's a tank in the 5-man band, but everybody is a fighter in some regards. And I feel like particularly like Disney princess feeling as well is that not only are they have their special thing, but they're also a fighter, they're also a warrior, and I feel like narratives are a little bit immature in that sense, that like fighting is so important as a basic skill for everybody, whereas in reality, I don't think, not many people are that great a fighter.
I think that comes down to genre conventions.
Yeah.
I think, like any convention, it is absolutely worth examining. And so, yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think the question then becomes, how do we want that to be exhibited in the Star Wars universe?
Right.
Yeah, I guess so.
In reality, it isn't necessary for everyone to know how to fight, because I don't think we're in constant danger.
No.
I think these people are always looking over their shoulders.
It's not like C-3PO can fight, so at least we have that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Even R2 can fight a little bit.
R2 can fight a lot. R2's a gangster.
R2 is the HK-47 of the original universe.
It would be interesting to actually see a Star Wars story where not everyone is quite so great at fighting.
Yeah.
So I hope we get to see that. Give it more of an adventure vibe and an action vibe.
Yeah. People are survivalists, but they're not combatants, so they're not warriors.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like to see more of, because you do get this like hypermanic pixie. What's the pixie something? Pixie girl?
Are you talking about
Manic Pixie Dream Girl?
Manic Pixie Dream Girl. That every female character gets turned into this Manic Pixie Dream Girl of warrior / something.
I think Mary Sue is a bit more of an appropriate term in that case, because Manic Pixie Dream Girl is usually applied in the context of a bright, bubbly young woman who kind of motivates a man to be happier.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure like this happens on the male side as well, that just because they're a man they can fight or whatever. Like, just your hero doesn't need to be everything. Yeah. And
no, I don't.
I don't know. That's just one of my.
I would love to see more of a survivalist hero.
Yeah.
Which is what I want in my Star Wars horror movie. I want it to be a survival.
Yeah. There's so much room in the Star Wars to see so many kinds of different stories and genres, and I feel like we keep seeing a lot of the same ones.
Yeah.
I think like a Stephen King Star Wars mashup would be interesting.
I really enjoy how recently with Lightyear that came out, that it's like, oh, this is the movie Andy saw when he was a child. I love the like expanded part of that. I would love to see like I want more expansion in the Star Wars universe. I want to see like these are the heroes that Luke probably would have looked up to when he was younger.
Oh, okay.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Have you seen the fan theory that Lightyear is not the one that Andy saw as a kid, but is a remake in the style of we're getting live action remakes of Disney movies?
So that means Andy hated it.
So here's an interesting thought. Do you think, there's no way that people in the galaxy didn't know about the Death Star getting blown up by the small band of rebels? Do you think maybe movies or stories were told about that in the Star Wars universe?
I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Like, we get a reference to that in the second chapter, or no, the one where Han comes back, I think is like the fourth chapter, where they said that like the tales of Luke, who doesn't want to talk about what happened on the Death Star, kind of get run away with a little bit. And he's not there to correct anything. He's not there to like tell what actually happened. But there is some mythology being built around him.
So do you think somebody like made movies about that?
Maybe.
Yeah. I think someone is out there writing fan fiction about what they thought happened.
Oh, what about conspiracy forums?
Oh, right.
There's 100% people who think that the Empire is...
The Battle of Yavin was an inside job.
Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure the Imperial Remnants also have trolls that are manufacturing
Right.
fake news to destabilize the New Republic.
You know what? If it got out that Luke Skywalker was Darth Vader's son, those conspiracy theorists,
Oh
if
my
there were
God.
ones being like it was an inside job, would have a field day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it gets out that Leia is his daughter, like nobody trusts her anymore.
Yeah, that was a premise of a recent book. Yeah.
Most people, I think, at this point probably know that Luke was, but do you think a lot of people know that Leia was his daughter at this point?
At this time, no, I don't think anyone knows at this time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a point of discussion.
A good question for another time.
Because it doesn't feel like, I don't know, like, good point, people could so distrust in her if they knew.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's a lot of mention of like this kind of history between Anakin and Luke, or Anakin and Leia, but like there's not a lot of mention of Padme as being Leia's mother, and I feel like that's some missed opportunity because Mon Mothma knew Padme, and maybe like it would have to come out at some point that was her mother, and upholding that legacy, I guess, is a little bit of a lost opportunity so far.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, well, at this point in the book, did we even know who their mother was?
Yeah, no, Padme doesn't technically exist yet for this book, but I think in general that would be a really cool storytelling opportunity.
Mon Mothma would have known the mother, but like nobody knows who the mother is yet.
Yeah, maybe not putting two and two together or something like that. So speaking of flashbacks, we've got Luke reflecting on what Ben Kenobi said about training Darth Vader, and there's like a little bit of hubris from Ben there. Leia says to Luke, semester break's over, let's get back to work, and Luke says, oh, I guess so, trying to hide a sudden lump in his throat. And Leia mistakes this or misinterprets it and says, oh, I'm not that bad of a student. What do you think Luke's real issue was there that he was thinking about?
That is a very good question. I think it might be his own fears about if he can accomplish this task of rebuilding the Jedi Order.
So you think that it's not so much about Leia being a student, but him being a teacher?
I think so, yeah. I was a little, baffled by that moment at first, but reflecting on it more, I guess I feel like that's the most likely story going on with Luke.
Yeah, and I guess that explains why he's reflecting on Ben's hubris there of like, well, I thought I could teach him as good as Yoda. And him being like, oh, well, maybe I can't pass this on as well as I thought, as well as I think I can.
I was thinking more of like, just because of Leia seemed pretty distracted with all the political stuff plus being pregnant, but looking on it from like Luke's point of view, yeah, maybe it's just he's doubting himself.
I can see that distraction being a concern as well. Yeah. She doesn't have the same opportunity he had to go to Dagobah for forced boot camp.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing about Luke, like he had 6 months on Dagobah to train with Yoda, right? But he didn't have anybody to spar with. I'm guessing Yoda didn't bring out his own lightsaber to take Luke through the forms.
Yeah.
So I still feel like Luke's a little bit like an uncut diamond when it comes to like one-on-one combat. I can definitely see him having very good basics and very good drilling.
Right.
But certainly well enough to handle the Nogri in this chapter.
Yeah.
But I kind of fear that his only dueling experience is with Vader. And one, he got his ass handed to him in Empire.
Yeah.
And then in episode 6, I don't feel like Vader's heart was in that fight. So
no,
I don't feel like he has particularly good experience to draw on. And I feel like maybe he's also looking forward to have somebody to bounce ideas off with, because at the moment he's the head of this thing, and I think he doesn't want that responsibility so much as to he wants something more diplomatic rather than I am the head of this new church and we're all going to do everything my way.
Yeah.
I am.
Also, the last thing we ever need is a Luke who's all caught up in his own head.
Yeah.
Oh, good chapter. Good action. Interesting hints at what's going forward or what's going to come, and a fair amount of character work being done as well that I'm honestly pretty impressed with. I mean, Timothy Zahn seems to be a really, really efficient writer.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it does. All right. Well, this has been The Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussions, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how to support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we will be waiting for you in the next transmission. We would be honored if you would join us.